Hey guys, welcome into Something Like Therapy. On today's episode, Jess and I are talking about people pleasing. Are you a people pleaser? Do you not know how to say no to people? Do you let people kind of walk all over you? Well, stick around. Maybe you'll find out as me and Jess go through some bullet points on signs that you may be a pesky people pleaser. So, hopefully you enjoy the show, and let's go. Hey guys, welcome into Something Like Therapy. Oh man, we're running late. Everything was late this morning, but we still got it in. We got our workout in. We did our new yoga meditation, what's it called again?
Kundalini.
We started doing that this week, so we were able to stay consistent and got it in today too. So we feel good. We feel energized, and we're ready to do another conversation, do another episode with you guys. So,
Real quick on the Kundalini. If you aren't necessarily a fan of yoga and all its crazy twist, turn type of stretches, give Kundalini a try because it's a lot more gentle and it helps a lot with like breath work. So it's pretty awesome. I fell in love with it when I was introduced to it. So I'm excited to like learn more about it because I think it's it's easier to do than yoga. Yoga's like, Kundalini is like a form of meditation and yoga, but I don't know. Yoga, you got to have some kind of extra joint or something. I don't know. Just
Exactly.
maybe I don't consider myself a person that isn't crazy flexible, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't obviously know anything about it till Jess told me, and she convinced me by saying it, like she mentioned, it helps with breathing and breath work, which that is like the practice to get you ready to do the ice bath stuff. So I want to start doing that, and you have to really know like how to breathe when you do ice bath. So
I have no interest in that, but
yeah, I'll get it.
I want to
Don't
learn
worry.
how to breathe.
Maybe we'll film it and put it on our page. But,
yeah, you do that.
So anyways, we got it all in and we are good to go. We have our waters, we ate our snack, so we're in for the long haul. I guess first things first, we want to address our would you rather question we posted last week. We did get some responses to the hundreds and thousands that responded. I know you guys are on the edge of your seat for us to begin discussing it. So to reiterate, so that maybe those that didn't catch it, the question was posed, would you rather be able to take back anything you say or...
No. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
is it?
Yes, I'm correct.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I'm
Would
sorry.
you rather be able to take back anything you say or be able to hear any conversation that is about you? So, like, out of nowhere, you just be sitting there and, like, know that these two people are talking about you. So, so we did get... I'm glad when I saw that we did get responses, pro for both sides so that we actually have a conversation to talk about. But we did get some that would rather take back what they said, and we did get some that would want to hear every conversation about them. So I'll let you go first on what you responded and your reasoning.
Oh, okay. My response would be take back what I said. I think because there's been a lot of times and situations where I walked away with the foot in my mouth, like, dang, why did I say that? Like, so I've had just many times where I wish I could just take something back. And
plus it'd be cool because like if you ever said something and then like it was just wrong, or like you know those times when like you say something you're like, oh my god, as soon as I said it I knew like, dang, I messed up, or I shouldn't have said that. You could always take it back, erase it from the memory of existence, or existence's memory, and then say the right thing. Yeah,
probably be dangerous though, because I probably would say a lot of crap, and then I'd be like,
I can just take it.
Just
get it off your chest, be able to like tell someone off, and
and then I'll just wipe it down, But to me, like the reason I don't want to know what people say about me, because it's like everyone has an opinion. We all have an opinion of each other. We all see each other in different ways, and I don't know. I think it's kind of dangerous to tap into people's minds like that. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, because it made me think of what was the last Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph,
Uh-huh.
where what was it like? Don't ever read the comments. No,
Oh
don't read the
yeah.
comments because it's like you go down that rabbit hole. Once you start like hearing what people think of you, you're never gonna
No.
please anyone, and
No.
especially if you're someone that kind of segues into our subject today, a people
Yup.
pleaser. You're gonna get hurt and you're gonna get offended and you're gonna get angry. So I think by knowing, like, hearing every conversation when someone is talking about you, like, yeah, of course, the times where it's good, like, oh my gosh, yeah, Derek is so amazing and he's great. Like, okay, yeah, that would make me like obviously happy and stuff. But then if I heard conversations where they're like saying negative stuff about me, it would like be on my mind all day and like, well, why do they
Yeah.
think that, or what did I do? So it really is just a waste of like your energy. Like, you don't, I mean, you need to kind of care, I guess, what you're putting out to the world, but to a very small extent, because
Yeah.
you're gonna do you. Like, you do you no matter what. And whatever people think, if they agree with you and they like you, cool. If they don't and they think you're garbage, then well, whatever, that's their opinion,
Yeah. Well, couple, he only got like 3 responses,
No,
guys.
it was hundreds,
Oh
maybe
yeah, you're right. I'm
thousands.
sorry, but only 3 were very important. So we'll just 3 were just the most
We had an
important
argument
ones.
for both sides, so then we're like, okay, cool.
So I think about 75% of the votes.
Yeah, okay.
75% of the votes were they want to hear what people are saying.
Yeah.
And the other was to take back what they say. And so, but one of the points that they made, one of the individuals that voted was that she would want to know who's worth her time, who's worth having around.
Yeah, not to waste
To
her
not
energy,
waste
yeah.
her time, which is, I mean,
It's a valid argument.
it's a valid argument. It's understandable. And I do think that because I don't know, everybody has an opinion of someone. But I think certain opinions can probably make or break a relationship or a friendship. And I think in that sense, I understand why this person would want to know because, yeah, at that point, you realize that you probably have a lot of toxic people in your life that you really don't need. People that really don't wish the best for you, or, that instead of maybe in person they're rooting and behind your back, they're just like completely hoping that you fail, So
Yeah, I guess
that's understandable.
you could use it for that, with
Yeah.
that special power to get rid of people that,
Yeah.
you don't want in your lives.
But I do want to say, I don't know, for me, I feel like listening or hearing other people's opinions of you, even if they're good, I feel like it can also become almost like a weight or something that you have to live up to someone's expectation. Like if someone thinks like, oh, like I think you're amazing, you're so smart, you're so talented. And now I'm kind of living up to that
Yeah.
bar that they've set, and I'm like, that could be kind of dangerous too, because
Yeah.
now you're trying to maintain that opinion or trying to keep up with, the way that person sees you, and you don't want to show your flaws.
Yeah, you stop
right?
living for yourself and you start, everything you do is for others.
Yeah.
So, and again, like someone like myself who really does like external praise, I could kind of probably be persuaded to want to like hear everyone's conversation because, like, yeah, it might suck for the ones that don't like me, but I'll get like double strength from hearing the praise or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, that kind of segues
That's
perfect.
interesting. We didn't set it up like that, but
Yeah,
it kind of does transition over pretty well
Yeah.
to what we're talking about.
So yeah, definitely it does. Today we are going to be discussing people pleasing. I know that is I guess that would be considered like a personality trait if you're a people pleaser, or is that just like I don't know, what is it? It's just a way people are.
I
I
don't want to
guess.
say I don't want to say that a people pleaser is a personality trait. I think it's a trauma response. I know that's
Yeah.
just me and my
Oh,
crazy mind.
Going
but
all Freudian already. Gosh.
I'm just saying, I really do think it's a trauma
Yeah,
response
definitely
for
is.
sure.
I
Because
think, yeah, because people are like, like, oh, that, like, we always talk about it. Our son always talks about like, oh, alpha male, like alpha male, alpha male. Like, the reason why they're alpha males and then non alpha males, like, yeah, I think it really is a response to how you grew up, the environment you grew up in, who raised you, things you saw. And it's not like it doesn't necessarily mean alpha male. You can be like an alpha female. What is their word? What's the word for? What's the?
I think it's just alpha.
It's just
I don't
alpha
know.
in
It's just
general.
an
Yeah.
alpha.
So yeah, I think you're right. Like it really is a response to trauma or like again your upbringing.
Your upbringings, your experiences.
So,
yeah, for sure.
But today, yeah, we're gonna go through. Jessica found this really cool article on people pleasing and like I think it was like 10 signs that you are a people pleaser sort of thing. So yeah, we're kind of go through
Let's see
each one of those.
Who's
yeah.
the biggest people pleaser out of all of us?
I
I mean, out of both of us.
Yeah, come on.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what though? I'm realizing that there's so many different ways that you can fall under this
for sure.
category
Even
of
if you
people pleasing.
Like you may think like myself, I went into it like, oh no, I know for sure I'm a people pleaser. And then there might be the opposite of someone that's like, no, I'm not. Like I am about myself. I'm actually kind of greedy with things and blah, blah, blah. But then you like hear them or you read, what the article had to say and you're just like, oh, I guess I can kind of be like that. I mean, everyone is a little bit of something, some more than others.
We all have tendencies.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is a very interesting article that I came upon, and it was talking about the dark side of people pleasing, and I really can't wait to get into that because we always think like people pleasing, someone that's just kind of always trying to move around other people, trying not to stir any.
You're putting others first instead of yourself.
Right? And there is actually another side to people pleasing.
There's manipulative people that
for sure.
pretend.
Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, so number one, so we're gonna cover each one. We'll try to
talk about each bullet point, give some examples, say how we're like that, or we know someone like that, or that kind of stuff.
So if you see any of these within yourself, maybe take some notes.
Exactly. As we go through them, maybe kind of pause it or something and be like, is that kind of me, or has that ever described me?
Okay. So number one, you pretend to agree with everyone.
So pretend to agree or actually agree?
Pretend because...
I guess, if you don't really. Okay.
Because if you have a different opinion,
worded. So, I mean, that's kind of probably the very common one where you're just like, do you want to go over here? Sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to can we move this to that? Yeah, sure, that's fine. Even though it's like, okay, like, a lunch day, we're going to meet on Tuesday at 3. It's like, okay, I moved everything around to make it for Tuesday at 3. And then they're just like last minute, like, oh, you think we just move it to, yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine. Knowing in the back of your head, you're like, oh my God, I literally have to do this and that's not going to work, but whatever, just tell them.
Well, I'll give you the quick little example of what it says. Listening politely to other people's opinions, even when you disagree, is a good social skill. But pretending to agree just because you want to be liked can cause you to engage in behavior that goes against your values. So, for me, this has been a huge struggle ever since we've have been going through like our deconversion and deconstruction. Have found myself in conversations where people bring up religion or even like with politics, because it's kind of a big thing when you're in the whole Christian walk and group and all that. You find yourself just kind of going along with it, and you almost want to, I'll speak for myself, but have almost kind of forced myself to agree with or to believe something that I truly don't 100% agree with, and in that process, I have lost myself, because then I really don't even know, like, oh my gosh, like, wait, do I really believe that? Do I really think that? And so, and I love what it says that, it's listening it's a great social skill, but just because you listen to someone and you give someone that space to talk does not mean you agree. And you have every right, just the way you give that person the space and time to express themselves, you have the right to do the same. But as a people pleaser, I feel like I would kind of just suppress that, and I would try to fit into their opinion.
Yeah, and people would do that to, again, like you said, agree with someone. Maybe they don't want to damage or bruise the friendship or relationship you have with that person. I think it's like even more so when you get into things like, you know, church or a group or a team or whatever, like whatever setting that you're in. This kind of goes to like the whole people don't, you know, people fear not being a part of a group. When you're a part of a group, you're safe, you know, there's safety in numbers and all that. So if you're around a bunch of people that think a certain way, maybe you just agree because you're just like, I'm scared to disagree because I don't want to be kicked out or I don't want to be looked upon. So yeah, I could understand why, even if you're not a people pleaser, like by doing that just for fear again of being pointed out. But
yeah, we just want to fit in. Yeah. You know, we
Everyone
don't want to be the outsider. We
Mm.
don't want to be the weird one that's just like, oh, that's how you think. Like, you know, we don't want to do that. So
yeah.
All right, number 2, you feel responsible for how other people feel. I'll give you the example. It's healthy to recognize how behavior influences others. But thinking you have the power to make someone happy is a problem. It is up to each individual to be in charge of their own emotions. This is a huge one for me as someone that considers themselves an empath. I cannot stand being around someone that is like feeling uncomfortable or upset. Like it makes me really uncomfortable, and I take it upon myself that I need to make them feel better, or I need to make them like happy, or I need to raise their vibration, you know, because it's making me uncomfortable. So that's something that I know that I struggled with, and I'm a lot better now. I have been around people that have, you know, are either grieving or going through a loss or whatever, divorce, like uncomfortable situations. And before in the past, I would run away from that. I'd be like, I don't have anything to do with that. But then I took the other approach where I would run to them now with thinking that I have to go and fix them. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I would say that it's in no way bad. Like if you're someone that is like, I just really like doing things for people. I really want to like help people. Like if someone's feeling down, I want to make them happy. If, you know, whatever I can do to like cheer them up and bring up their spirits, that's not bad. You're a good person. Like it gets toxic is where you put that burden where it's like, mm-hmm. I have to do that. I have to be the person that brings them up. If someone's sad, like I have to find out what's wrong. What did someone do? What did I do? What happened? Let me see if I can fix this. Let me see if I can help mm-hmm. you. Let me see if I can give you some therapy, like whatever. Like when you begin to like feel that you have to do it instead of like, I enjoy doing it and this is what I like doing for people. But, you know, when that turns into I have to, that's where it can become bad, I think.
And I think at that point, then it becomes a very self-centered behavior where it's not even about the person anymore. You know, it's not even about what they're going through. It's not about being there, just being present mm-hmm. for this person, this individual. Now you're just like, oh, here
it's
comes
something I need to fulfill.
Savior Jessica, and I have to fix this, and I have to make it right. And it's like it's not your job.
Yeah, and then you get angry when you're just like, well, let me help you. And they're just like, no, there's nothing you can do. Like, no, like let me help you. Like stop it.
It's like this God complex all of a sudden.
Exactly.
You know, it's your job, it's your duty, and it's not. It's not.
Sure.
And honestly, there's a lot of room for resentment there. You know, because now it's like, well, I did this for you. Why aren't you happy? Why aren't you like, why are you still sad?
I've done everything I can for you. And yet you're still not happy. Like, I didn't ask you to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Number 3, you apologize often.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Dude, I literally catch myself like ever since, because we brought this up before, and oh my God, like as much as I say the word like or when I'm talking, I apologize. Dude, if you know me and we've had conversations, or next time we have a conversation, just in the back of your head, see how many times I say sorry. Because I thought about the other day when I was waiting and I was doing like a block or whatever, and some guy came up to me randomly and was like, hey bro, you don't happen to smoke cigarettes, do you? And I was like, no man, I'm sorry, I don't. He was like, it's okay. Even like his response was like, his response was like, why are you apologizing? Like, you don't smoke cigarettes, that's fine. But it's funny. Like, it's like breathing for me. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, what? I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. It's like a weird thing. Tick.
I actually don't struggle with this one.
I don't think you've ever said sorry to me our
Shut
whole
up.
marriage.
No, I don't. I don't struggle with this one.
I'm sorry
and
for
I think it's a
nothing.
bad thing. I don't know. I think it's more of because maybe it's my pride, where I'm like, I'm not sorry for that. I'm not sorry for what I said.
You just hit
But
me with your car, though. Well, you shouldn't have been standing there.
but see, that's why I chose to take things back. Because then I don't even gotta
Yeah, take back the car
apologize.
hit.
I don't have to apologize. I just take that shit back. It never happened.
Maybe we move to number whatever the next one, so you don't seem like a horrible
See,
person.
we all got our things we need to work on. Well, let me read the. Did I read the explanation?
No, I don't think so.
I did it right. It says whether you excessively blame yourself or fear other people are always blaming you, frequent apologies can be a sign of a bigger problem. Oh, see, I don't got that many problems. You don't have to be sorry for being you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know whatever I have to do to work on that, but that's one for sure. So
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, we all have our things that we need to work on, but I think it is a matter of just being unapologetic for who you are,
yeah, I mean, there's things you can be sorry about, like
yeah, no,
obviously
of
where you
course.
should be sorry for it, and there's like I said, the times when people ask you for something, it's like something that you had no control over,
There you
and
go.
it's like, why am I sorry for this?
I think
Like,
that's it. You literally
it's
nailed it. It's whatever you don't have control
Yeah.
over for, you don't need to apologize, because
Exactly.
it's just I can't apologize for having brown eyes.
Yeah.
I can't apologize for only being 5 feet. you know, I feel like somebody should answer for that, but
Universe, you're gonna have to give me an answer.
Right?
What's going on?
all right. So next one, we're on number 4. You feel burdened by the things you have to do. You're in charge of how you spend your time, but you are a people pleaser. Oh, I'm sorry. But if you are a people pleaser, there's a good chance your schedule is filled with activities that you think other people want you to do. Oh, this was us to the max.
That reminds me. Remember when we were talking? Yeah, like back in the day when we would
Yeah.
talk about that. When I would say like from Parenthood, Steve Martin's like, my whole life is have to. And she was like, that's you. And I'm
You
like, I
literally
know.
say that. You do say that.
Yes, because I kind of feel like for every little thing, like, okay, we have a beautiful new puppy that we love and gives us so much joy, and it's just like she wakes us up in the middle of the morning, like, oh god, I have to go feed her. Like, it's like, okay, she's but like, what do you want her to do?
She's
She
a
can't
pup.
feed herself.
But
Like,
see, okay, this is why about maybe probably like when COVID kind of happened, we found ourselves like obviously we couldn't go see people, we couldn't really do things, so we didn't have to say no. We didn't have to like explain why we couldn't go places.
it
Like
was kind of great.
it was kind of freaking awesome, right? Like, I mean, granted, we miss our friends, we miss people, our family. It was very hard to not see our family, but it was nice
Because we
to
always
not
like,
have to make excuses,
we
right?
always felt. Remember we would talk about like the burden of like if anytime the family was even gonna have a barbecue, like it was always at our house, like
Yeah.
because it just is what it
Exactly.
is. But
But
you know,
then you realize that you have the power to do that without being in quarantine. You have the power to say, hey, this holiday, we kind of just wanted we just want it to be us. This time, this, whatever it is. We just want it to be something intimate with just us and our family, and it became something that we didn't realize that we had the power to do in the past until we were kind of forced to do it,
yeah,
So I think little by little, we started to see that we didn't have to do anything that was. Okay. I don't want to say that you shouldn't ever do things for other people because it's just a nice thing to do. Yes, sometimes holidays, you can't have every single year and not have family around because it's just not, I don't know, it's not healthy, But if you are in a place where you don't have the mental capacity to entertain someone or to be there for that person, then it's better to just say, hey, right now, I'm not able to keep up with that. I'm not able to be a host to you, or I'm not able to go see you because I'm just not in the right state of mind to be present, you know?
I think this whole bullet point or whatever is solved with the whole thing. What was it? Like you talked about or read articles on it where it's like, use your no's and yeses wisely or, so
Yeah.
like say no when you really you can't. And, yes when you should. Like, I don't know. But yeah,
it's
if
like
you work on
use
that,
your
it'll fix
no's
it.
firmly and your yeses wisely.
Yeah.
You know, because it's true. This is one of the reasons why have lost a lot of friendships in the last maybe 2 years because we couldn't keep up with that many people. Like, I don't people that have freaking more than 3 really close friends, I don't know how they freaking do it. Like, I seriously, I don't know, because it's very hard to have real quality time with that many people. You're
spreading yourself way too thin.
Way too thinly.
No, and nothing bad about if you want to have a lot of friends, that's perfectly fine. But set the correct expectations on how that is, and it's like you can't be everyone's best friend. You have to you have to choose. If you want to have a bunch of like acquaintances and stuff, but you choose your inner circle, or you should choose your inner circle wisely, where it's just like I only have a very small amount of people that I consider very, very close to and like share things with.
Yeah, because honestly, and we kind of keep saying this, it's you only have so much energy. You don't create energy.
Think of yourself as a rechargeable battery, and when it goes low, you have to recharge.
And you can't create energy. You only have so much in your tank, and once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And then after that, people are just kind of getting leftovers.
Exactly.
So you have to really be careful with who you're giving your time to.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So, all right, next one, which kind of falls into this. You can't say no.
Yeah, we literally just covered that. No. Like, choose your no's wise, or firmly say your no's. And all that, so.
Exactly.
But it's true. There's times where I've gotten into like dilemmas where people ask me to do things, and it's like I told them both yes. Like, well, why would you do that? Like, you literally, and it's like, yeah, you may physically have the time. Like, well, right after that, then I can go do that. But it's like, do you really want to do that though? Like, you're not gonna have any time for yourself, and you're just like, it's too much. And then because it comes into the always wanting to like make someone happy and please them, that I didn't want to tell them no, so I said I could do this. But it's like, no, just
and then
be firm.
It leaves so much room for resentment.
Well, yeah,
because now you show up at the second person's house all pissed off, and like, oh, I have to be here and I have to do this. No, you didn't have to do shit. You didn't have to tell them yes. You didn't have to say, what time do you want me there? Like, sometimes we like oversell ourselves, like, oh, I'm gonna be the best friend ever, and I'm gonna be present in every single moment, when you're not. You can't. And then you can't.
It's awkward and bad for the other person that asked you, because like you show up, and especially if you're someone that shows up and just like, yeah, well, I had to do this morning, then I'm so tired, then right after this I have to go do that. It kind of makes, like, if I was the person that asked, I'd have been like, well, then why the fuck did you come? Why did you say yes? Then you shouldn't have just not come and just told me. I would rather have you not come and if I needed help.
Well, I'm going to go into the next one, because it literally, like, we're kind of going down the list pretty quickly. So I think we are pretty bad people pleasers. Well, we're recovering. We're recovering people pleasers, okay? Because this is stuff we used to do in the past, and we're working on it.
I wear my patch every morning and chew my gum to not be a people pleaser. I'm getting over this.
My name is Derick. I'm a people pleaser.
Yep.
Okay, number 6, you feel uncomfortable if someone is angry at you.
Oh my god. I've already told you that.
I don't know why we laugh at every single one of these.
Because it's just sort of like, so I don't like when you say something obvious, like. But it's
I wish you guys could see his face.
Well, and it, again, because we always swore to you guys we were going to be completely transparent and honest with this. I've told Jess.
We're freaking professionals.
I've told Jess many times, like, I suffer from this with my marriage with her and my relationship with her, because, there'll be times where, like, I wouldn't say every morning, but a lot of mornings I'll wake up and I'm like, okay, is she, like, did something happen? Like, is she mad at me? Like, what happened? And Jessica's not a morning person, so I get this probably every morning where she just seems like she's upset.
Sometimes I'm not an evening person. Yeah. Sometimes I'm not a day person.
So, and it's always in the back of my head, like, okay, what did I do? What should I do? Like, let me look busy. Let me, like, do this for her. Like, and it's just, again, like, she's not even mad at me. And then, the times where I actually do mess up and she's really mad at me and I know the reason, then it's even more so of going into this, like, let me just, you can take the air out of my lungs. I will give it to you. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's even worse again when, one, she's upset at something else completely, or she's just not even upset. And I'm just like, oh my God, I have to, like, what did I do? I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And, and then separate too, like not even with my wife, but just with friendships, with, former bosses, whatever. It's just like, I don't want them to be mad at me. So let me pull out my hair and run myself rampant just so that they can, like, not be upset at me.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times I'll find out like they weren't going to get mad either way. Just
Yeah.
be honest with them or whatever. So
That goes back to bullet point 2. It's your responsibility to make someone
exactly
happy.
that exactly coincides with that one too.
Yeah, and and I think sometimes too when you fall under this category of a people pleaser, and you become uncomfortable when someone's upset or angry. I feel like there's times where someone knows that you have that tendency to get uncomfortable with people that are just being human and having an emotion of anger or sadness or whatever. People will tend to kind of not show their genuine selves because they don't want to make you now uncomfortable, So I think it gives a lot of it's too much. It gives an opportunity for someone to not really be genuinely who they are, or just what they're feeling, express what they're feeling, because now you're trying to perform for them to make them happy or to please them.
Yeah.
So now it's like this whole, you're not being yourself, they're not being themselves, because now they're just like, well, I don't want to burden them with whatever it is that I'm going through, because they're going to take it personal.
Yeah, right.
And, so it is dangerous, and as far as like, in our relationship, you and I, yeah, I can be, you can ask my son, he'll say the same thing. Like, I can tend to be a moody person, and
no, not you, baby.
I just, that's another topic. Anyways,
for another day.
So that's something I have to work on also, because I knowing the type of person that you are. And I don't think this is me necessarily being a people pleaser. I think this is just me being considerate of you, knowing that that you're very sensitive to how I'm feeling. That's something that I need to work on, where I don't have to carry that, whatever it is that I might be going through, and carried it on my sleeve 24/7 for you to now be exposed to it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think, but what this bullet point is trying to make is that you need to have enough self-awareness, or you need to have enough self-discipline to not be affected by other people's emotions, situations, opinions. We need to kind of bring it in and have enough confidence within ourselves that you don't have to take on other people's burdens. You can just be there, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you don't care. Doesn't mean that you're being dismissive. It just means that you're not going to let that affect you to the point where now you're joining that person's pity party.
Yeah, because
right?
Just being a human being, being a person, you are, without any influence or impact from others around you, you are already in the span of a 24-hour day going to go from highs and lows to happy feelings and sad feelings and like concerned and like all these things. I mean, even just your hormones too, like going up and down. Like it's just, if you're hungry or whatever, like you're already going to go through all this stuff. Then to allow other people's, all the stuff that they're now going through to then affect what your emotions, like that's just too much. Like it's hard enough time to control your own stuff. So.
And we continue with the smooth transition. Number 7, you act like the people around you.
Yeah, this is the whole, I'm a chameleon, sort of thing. Where now again,
Well, let me read
read the
this
thing first.
real quick, because I think it just gives a little more clarity to it. But it's normal for other people to bring out different sides of your personality. But God, guys, I can't freaking talk. But people pleasers often tend to sabotage their goals. Studies show that people pleasers engage in self-destructive behavior if they think it will help others feel more comfortable in social situations. For example, people pleasers eat more when they think it would make other people feel happy. We just talked about this when we were looking last week when we were looking up this topic, and Derick was kind of like, I don't get it. I don't, why would you eat more? And I gave the example of like, it's like when you go to, let's say you're dating someone new and you go to meet, their parents, and the mom makes this just awesome, delicious meal, but you're already really full, but you don't want to make her feel bad, and she's offering you more. And now you're just like, damn, I'm going to freaking blow up if I eat this, but you can't say no. Like, you have to make them, one, like you and feel like, hey, your food's awesome and delicious. So now you're just like stuffing your face to the point where you're going to be so uncomfortable when you go home. But
yeah. And
just to come find out she fucking can't stand you.
Right. Well, it's like the first time I went to Guadalajara to visit your family. You told me, you're like, every family place we go to, you're going to get served food and you're going to drink and you're going to eat at every single place. So like in one day, I don't know, we visited one aunt here and one aunt there and an uncle, whatever. And every place they serve you food. So it's like, again, those are just traditions of a Mexican family. I'm sure that's a tradition of most, ethnicities or whatever. But yeah, that's exactly that. Yeah. You don't want to make a bad impression. You don't want to hurt their feelings. So I will eat, even though like I'm dying, which I do want to go on the record that I'm going to go with that one. That all my life I've just been making people happy, and that's why I'm fat. So I just want to make people happy, and that's why I eat everything.
Everyone's so happy.
It's like, that's nice. You went out on your own and got that. Yeah, but I was making McDonald's guy happy. Like, he was happy to give that to me.
Piss off the drive-through people, dude.
Right.
So I ordered an extra box of
when they asked, like, is that all you want? I'm like, no, let me add the sundae then. Is that it? No, what do you want from me?
Oh, my God. Oh, God, no. All right. Number 8. And I think even if you're not a people pleaser, but it's one of your love languages, you can probably relate to this. Number 8, you need praise to feel good.
Jesus Lord. Yeah, that's, like I already mentioned it, that is my it's like air and water and food for me. It's
your fuel.
It is my
and I don't
think
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I feel like everyone needs to hear some words of encouragement, motivation, and just a reminder that, hey, you're awesome, you're doing great. But when it becomes your everything, and now you're just waiting on that next, word of encouragement, and you can't do anything unless you receive that, then that's when it becomes very unhealthy, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So it says, while praise and kind words can make anyone feel good, people pleasers depend on validation. If your self-worth rests entirely on what others think about you, you'll only feel good when others shower you with compliments. I struggled with this a lot when I was in a ministry that was all women, and there was a lot of older women, and I was like a freaking, just like a puppet show. I was just doing everything and anything. I was mimicking them. I was just trying to gain their approval because they were older women, and I was like, okay, I need to sound like them. I need to be like them. I need to be just as gifted as them. And I remember one time going, and one of them said something to me that was like it was negative. It was like a negative comment. And I did not want to go back. Like, it was like weeks where I was like, I just don't want to go back there. And I was really down, like thinking that I wasn't good enough to go and be a leader, to some of these women. Obviously I felt, because I was younger, I was dumb. And I just really struggled with that. So it wasn't until probably later on, a few weeks after, I received a compliment, and it just ignited me all over again, and then I was like, all of a sudden I was confident again, and I felt great. But then I started to notice that pattern, that if I didn't receive a compliment or like, like a word of praise, then I must not be doing something right. Obviously I need to work on work hard in order to be seen and people to see how much I'm really worth, you know? So that's something and I think even till this day, I kind of struggle with that. I am working through that more as I go through like healing and whatnot, but I think it's something I have to be very intentional with myself where like, hey, just because someone doesn't say something or notice you doesn't mean that you're not worth, what you know you're worth, It doesn't mean that you're not doing something great or amazing. It just means that people might just not have an opinion on it, you know?
I mean, I think that was a big thing for just in general, at least for us with church, because like we said, we're in our last or whatever the episode for our deconversion, we were talking about how, we kind of ate all that up. We were like sponges to that, where they were just like, "Oh, you guys are so gifted," and people really like listen when you speak, and this and that, and whatever. We just and me especially, like I said, I'm someone that ever since I was a kid, like for everything, like I needed to be the smartest in the class, like I needed to get the best grades. If someone got a percentage better than me, oh my gosh, heaven forbid, or whatever, like for those assemblies for the awards, I needed to get more awards than everyone or whatever. And then it led into being an adult requiring the same thing. So then, like going into church, it was just like, oh my God, this is a place where the praises come in like crazy. And then if you get like the lead pastor to say something to you, oh Lord, like I'm walking on clouds here, Like,
it's kind of interesting because I thought it was just a behavior that I developed while we were in church, and that once we left, I kind of it kind of stopped. But I actually started joining this other group, and it's also a group of women. There's some men in there, but mostly women. And I saw myself falling back into the same type of behavior where it's like no one said anything when I made that comment. No one acknowledged
that was a really smart
I'm like,
sounding
damn,
comment.
dude, I thought that was
anything?
freaking great, and you have no opinion on it? Like, well, what the hell? I guess it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I saw that I was kind of repeating the same thing, and I'm like, wait a minute. So it had nothing to do with my environment. It was me. It was me. Like, that's just a personality trait that I carry, where I never saw myself as like a person. What the love language? What is it, like words of affirmation?
Yeah, words of affirmation.
I never saw myself as someone with that, with that type of love language. But the older I get, the more that I see like, maybe I do search for that praise. Maybe I do search for that validation. And
I mean, and now we're literally creating a whole society that is dependent on that, with likes. Like, how many likes did you get on that post? Which now your likes, you monetize it, and that's how you make money on TikTok. So it's just like,
now it has a whole other value.
Yeah, that's a whole other meaning. Like, not only do I need the praise, but I also can make money from this. So I need you to like this.
Now you're relying on it.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Black Mirror episode. Where they need the likes.
Yeah. All right. So the next one, number 9. We only got 2 more, guys. You go to great lengths to avoid conflict. It's one thing to not want to start conflict, but avoiding conflict at all costs means that you'll struggle to stand up for the things and the people you really believe in.
What did you say earlier to me this morning? That I was spineless?
Stupid. Wow.
I mean, she literally did say that, but it was a completely different... It was a joke in a different context altogether.
So we were doing Kundalini, and the girl was wearing all white, and she was like, "Oh, you might be wondering why I'm wearing all white." And white is like representation of the most highest light and energy that we carry. And I'm wearing all black. And then Derick just kind of looked at me, and I was like, okay, like, whatever. I was like, I guess I'm just some dark witch or whatever. And then he was like, well, I'm wearing neutral colors. And I made the comment, I'm like, that means you're just spineless.
But she said it. I knew where it was coming from. That was like, it had been waiting to come out.
No.
She was just picking her time.
Not at all.
But
not at all.
And again,
God, people are gonna think I'm just the worst.
I paint a good picture. I'm an artist. Like definitely, I'm in a way, even without my wife saying that, like that's kind of how I look at myself. Where I can feel sometimes in situations where it was like, damn, that was pretty spineless. Like, why didn't you say I'm literally that guy where like something will happen and then like as I'm driving home I'm like, oh, that's what I should have said. Oh man, I would have said that. That would have been so good. I should have thought of that right then and there. But it's like again, it's just because I feel like I'm a people pleaser. Like I avoid the conflict because I don't want to disagree with them. I don't want to tell them they're wrong. I don't want to tell them that and that's just not me and I think something different or I can't or say no to them. Like I just avoid the conflict. It is in most situations. I really do.
But it's just funny because I don't know, like the more I read into just the mind and the psychology and of people, everything that we do is a form of manipulation because yes, you might be avoiding conflict, but also what you're trying to do is, again, like I said, sell a version of yourself that really isn't real and isn't true. And I'm not saying like this is what you're doing, but I feel like people that just go around, being the one that everyone likes, it's kind of, it's a little manipulative, right? Because I think at that point, then what you're doing is you're trying to present this other side of you or this version of you that really isn't true. And when people, when you finally gain people's trust and they come to you, they come to find out that, wait a minute, that's not even the person that I thought I knew, and now this person's upset because I want to walk away and, but it's because you've never shown the true genuine side of yourself, and the true genuine side of yourself will sometimes be presented with conflict, because
every human is like no one, you can't be agreeable with every single thing.
I think what people, and it's something that I'm working on within myself, is that I don't have to necessarily agree with you to have a friendship or just to be an acquaintance or just to have a respectful conversation. We don't have to agree. We can just, I know it's like an old saying, but agree to disagree. Like, it's okay. But I think nowadays, and it's getting worse because of social media, because we're exposed to what everyone thinks and says, if someone goes against what you're saying or thinking, it's like, oh my God, you're taking it so personal. Like now it's a personal attack on me, and people pleasers or even empaths, like they are going to want to kind of adjust themselves to now, showing themselves that I'm good with everything. I'm cool with everyone. And now, like I said, now you're just spineless. Now you don't really stand for anything, because you're just too busy worried about what everybody else is thinking,
Yeah, like you said about like just putting on this like fake kind of thing, like, oh, I agree with this and I agree with that. It's like when you explain it now, I realize like, dang, I think my whole life I've been running for president. Like it's just I want to please everyone, and I agree with you, and I hear you, and I hear you too.
And you are very liked by a lot of people. You always have been. I remember when we worked, together, and when we first met, everyone liked you. Everyone was just like, oh my God, all the managers liked you. Like they were just always like, he's so freaking great. He's so awesome. But then it got to a point where like when you and I really started to get to know each other, I'm like, that is not Derick. Like that guy, no. Like
I was like, I'm good, huh?
But
make them think this.
You sold me on marriage.
Yeah. And honestly, like like you were saying with people, like with friends, like the ones that you do want to be friends with, and the one, at least in my experience, were the ones that that disagreed with me. Like I have one friend, and Jess knows who he is too, where it was like no matter what, because she would get into freaking arguments with him too, but it almost seemed like everything that we would say, he would just like, no, well, if you think of it like this and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dang, can't you just ever agree on anything? Why do you have to fight me on everything? But all the conversations we had, and I've known him for years now, like, it's just great because it's like, I already know, like, if I put something, it's like, I already know this guy's going to comment on it. And sure enough, there's his comment. Like, well, you're wrong because of this, and this. But it's like, those are the conversations. But we're friends. And we care about each other. But it's like, we don't agree. And that's what probably makes us friends. So, like, I value his opinion on it.
That's what keeps the world turning.
Yes. Because if everyone agrees, it's just, I don't know.
It just, I don't think we, like, understand how important it is for people to be different and have different opinions and have different thoughts, because if not, everybody would be doing the same thing the same way, and it would just be horrible. It would be awful. It'd be
Yeah,
boring, So
exactly.
yeah. Number 10, you don't admit when your feelings are hurt. So let me read you the example. You can't form authentic relationships with people unless you're willing to speak up sometimes and say that your feelings are hurt. Denying that you're angry, sad, embarrassed, or disappointed, even when you're emotionally wounded, keeps a relationship superficial. So, we just went through a particular situation where this very much applies. We were friends with a couple, pretty close friends, I would say. And there was a couple of incidents that happened, more than a couple actually, where we felt, we felt a little hurt, we felt a little wounded. And we had communicated to them that we were kind of feeling a certain way about it. And, we had here and there kind of expressed our feelings, but it was always the way we explained it was almost like it wasn't a really big deal. But deep down inside, there was, there was some pain and some hurt, and that turned into resentment, and so we eventually ended the friendship. We're just like, hey, I just don't think it's really working out. But a couple of weeks after that all kind of went down and all that unfolded, I realized something about myself and us as a couple friend, or friends. Really, we had some responsibility in that, because we could have been 100% completely honest about how we felt from the first incident, but I think we were really scared of either losing the friendship or not giving them like an opportunity to maybe show something different. And we really denied how we felt. We denied that it was a big deal, from the first incident. We denied ourselves from really truly expressing who we really, expressing and showing who we really were or are. And the relationship little by little became very like superficial, very surface. Not saying that we didn't have connections with these people, but I don't think we were ever really, for me, I don't think I was ever really truly myself, because I was always scared that I was too needy. I'm being too needy. I'm asking too much of these people. I need too much of this friendship. But I was really denying myself a true, genuine connection with them. Do I feel like maybe things could have been different? I don't know. Maybe they could have. Maybe if I really would have expressed myself, what I really wanted from this friendship, maybe things would have been different. Maybe not. I don't know. But I had to take a moment and say, hey, I am just as responsible for what happened as much as they are, because we should have spoken up more.
Yeah.
We should have said, hey, why weren't we invited, or why were we told last minute,
Yeah.
like, so I feel like sometimes we don't want to ask too much of people, maybe because we're afraid of what we're gonna hear, or maybe we're afraid that we're gonna get like the wrong response. But I think the worst thing that you can do is not ever speak up and say how you really feel, because you're really denying yourself of the opportunity to possibly have a better outcome than to now, where there was so much resentment, between that friendship, that we had to completely step away.
Yeah.
And it sucks, because, things could have been differently maybe, if we would have just been 100% honest. And who cares if people think we're fucking needy? Who cares if people think we're too fucking much? That's not our problem.
That's who we are.
That's who we are.
Yeah, and when we think about it, it's not like we like in that specific situation. It's like, are we being needy when we feel like hurt by something? Like, no,
Yeah.
that's just how
Like
we
we're being
feel.
excluded.
And honestly, everything you said, like, that is probably if you don't take anything away from anything, if you don't take anything else away from this episode or whatever, maybe that's the point where, that's the most healthiest version of yourself that you can be when it comes to relationships. Because no matter what, like if there's a relationship that ends bad, if it's a friendship or someone you're, seeing or dating, whatever, both, no matter how you look at it, both sides have a responsibility of how things played out. Now you may ask yourself, like, no, like I did everything right. Like she was a bitch, like she did this, this, and this, or he was an asshole and he treated me like this, this, and this. Okay, that, yeah, he has his responsibility. He needs to be accountable for that, or she needs to be accountable for that. But then you, for allowing that person, you're like, yeah, I did it for months and every time, but it was like, okay, you have to be accountable. Like you allowed that person to treat you like that. Now, if they did it on the first date, and I'm like, yeah, I ain't putting up with that shit. I just didn't call him back or didn't call her back. If that's how she is, then if she showed that's how the person, then I don't want to be with someone like that. But if you're now like on like, yeah, 2 years later, and now they're just going to be like this, like these old 2 years, that's how they were, then that's on you. Yeah. Like, why did you allow someone to continuously treat you bad? So, being like taking accountability, and we've talked about that before. People just, damn, they'll do anything and everything to like not be held accountable for their actions. Yes. And that includes not doing something. Like Jess said, we could have spoken up the first time, maybe even the second time, where we felt offended or hurt or left out or whatever, and been like, hey, this is how we feel, and given them the chance to explain. Instead, we just kept it inside because we were like, well, we don't want to like hurt their feelings, or we don't want to seem like we're needy, or we don't want to whatever. But and a lot of the times, like Jess will ask me, like, before she sends a text to someone, or like, hey, do you think this is like wrong, or do you think this is bad? It's like, even if it is, that's what you feel, and you gotta just express what you feel. And it's up to people if they're gonna continue to want to be friends with you or hold a relationship with you. Like, but by not being genuine, you're not. It's almost like you're downplaying them. You're not giving them the chance to see who the real you is. So. I think that's super important, but it's a very healthy way to have relationships.
Yeah, and I think not having that communication keeps you in the victim mentality for as long as you can, and so as long as you're the victim, then somebody else is the villain, right? Like somebody else is the bad person. And I was having a conversation with a friend. We're mutual friends with this particular couple, and I just explained to her. I said, the more that I look at it, I can't be 100% upset with just, them. I'm taking full responsibility also, because that really, us being in that friendship for as long as we were, really said something about us, where we didn't value ourselves enough to say, hey, I don't like the way that, that we're being treated or dismissed. We were willing to put up with, and that's not right. Like, that's not right. And that says something about our character. That says something about us, because now we see that, we're not worth enough to have a healthy and growing friendship with these people. And communication just, we just completely ignored it,
Communication's key in every single relationship. If it's with your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend or a friend or a coworker or your children, like, if there's no communication, how is that person ever going to know?
They're just,
And I bring it up too, like even on a, at the job I used to have where I dealt with the customers, customer service, or I did customer service and dealt with people all the time, mostly over the phone and stuff. And I remember my boss like saying sometimes when like people would call and they're like, there's no other way to put it. You're an asshole. I don't know. You are an asshole. You don't know how to talk to people. You talk down on people. And of course, me being like a people pleaser, I'm like, oh, yes, 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 yes. And then I would get off a phone conversation and he would just be like, good, you have good customer service, but sometimes it's okay. As your boss, I'm giving you permission. Call these motherfuckers out. Tell them you don't speak to me like that, or you need to calm down, or whatever the case. And then the way he explained it to me made so much sense, because he was like, what if they don't know they're assholes? Now we just saved them. We saved some other customer service rep. Whenever they call and want to talk about their bill, they'll think twice. Like, remember when you got called out that one time? Like, maybe I shouldn't be like that. Maybe it isn't right for me to talk to people like that. Like, if you never tell someone, hey, you're a dick or you're an asshole, like, stop doing that, maybe they'll never know. Like, and especially if it's someone, your friend, like, you care about them, like, hey, you got to take the chance. You got to roll the dice. If it's going to mess up your friendship, so be it. But at least you went out trying to help them. But like maybe they don't know that's how they are. Maybe they think they're perfectly fine. Like, oh yeah, we can treat people like that. Like no one cares about that. Like everyone's fine. Everyone thinks like me, right? And it's like no, not everyone thinks like you.
Right.
Some people get offended when you do this or you say this or you talk like this or you don't say this or you don't do this. Like so you have to put that. Like anytime you feel like you want to hold back, really think about it. Like maybe I'm going to help this person. Now just don't be mean with it. Like go around calling everyone. So
Well,
I'm just gonna tell them. But
can I just kind of rephrase that really quick? I think what if I mean I don't know. I guess tell me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're trying to say is that you only have responsibility. You're only responsible for yourself, right? Like so, how you feel, how someone is, what they're saying, how it's making you feel. The only responsibility you carry is to let that person know, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is how, your actions made me feel. Mm-hmm. Now, the only responsibility you have is to communicate that to the other person.
Yeah.
How they respond to it is completely out of your control, right? So you have the responsibility to, if you really want to continue that friendship or relationship, whatever it is, if you want to continue that, then you have the responsibility to let them know how you feel. How they respond has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Nothing to do with you. So I think that's what, I guess the point that we're trying to make is that the only thing that you have to do is communicate clearly. Not don't beat around the bush, because that's what we did. That's what we did in the beginning of this friendship. We beat around the bush and we really didn't say, hey, that really hurt my feelings. Like that was really messed up, and we just kind of well, yeah, we kind of heard, around freaking that this and that was happening and we didn't hear. So we just kind of assumed that we weren't, just invited. And so it just really made it seem like we really weren't that affected by it. And, so to them, it wasn't really a big deal to us. But deep down inside, we were really hurt. So communicate clearly. Don't beat around the bush. Say how you really feel be unapologetically yourself. Just express yourself. Say what you really think. How they respond, now the ball's on their court. Yeah. And they can respond however they want. There was another particular situation where, we communicated with, these two individuals that their humor was a little too hard on us, too heavy for us. And, and I said, this is what I said. I'm not asking you to change. I'm not telling you that you need to change. I'm just letting you know how that makes me feel and giving you the opportunity to, let me know what you think. If that's something that you're not going to change, that's okay.
Yeah.
You have every right to be how you are, and you don't have to explain yourself to me. But I'm just letting you know that this is probably not going to work out.
Yeah.
And let's just be adults about it. I think it's just, when you grow up and you mature, it's like, dude, just be adults about it. It's okay. You don't have to be friends with everyone. We can be cool and civil. If we run into each other, hey, how's it going? Cool. But I'm not obligated to invite you into my home if you're going to continue that behavior.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, everyone kind of, if you are an adult about it, you begin to realize, like, I don't have time to, like, and they, for the example that you use, those two people that you're talking about, like, you would say that to us. Like, we don't really mess with people, like, things that are a waste of our energy. Like, if it ain't us, then it ain't us. We're not going to try and make it us, and that's fine. Like, that's actually a good way to live. And that's all we did to that extent, too. Like, this is how we feel. And like that, again, like you said, the only responsibility you have is to express how you feel. However they're going to respond is however, and then the only responsibility you have at that point is to decide, okay, am I going to continue this or not continue this? But you did it by expressing yourself. So, yeah, it takes a lot of work. And I think everyone, like we said, can be a people pleaser at times, some more than others. But it's just a matter of, like everything else, like balancing those times of, using your yeses and no's wisely, or being okay with, like, someone else is being mad or upset. Like, it's not your responsibility to fix them. Like, it's a lot, And
I just kind of, like, one final little point that I want to share with you guys is that you know, you don't have to go from being a people pleaser to now go to the complete opposite side of the spectrum where you're just an asshole and you don't care what people think. You don't, you know, where you're just completely inconsiderate. You know, that's not what I'm saying. Like you said, there has to be a balance. You know, just because you're a good listener doesn't make you a good, you know, doesn't make you a people pleaser. You're just like someone that likes to listen, you know? You're just because you're someone that sets boundaries doesn't mean that you're an asshole, you know? Yeah. So find that balance within yourself. Recognize moments that you're being challenged and moments where you're putting yourself out for really no reason, you know? So yeah, I think it just comes down to having self-awareness, having, you know, being emotionally mature to know that, hey,
emotionally mature, that's good. That's for me, first time we said it this episode, but God, it's a big
just
thing.
Be emotionally mature to communicate, say what you feel. Don't be, you know, if you're afraid of what people are going to think, you know what, people have opinions either way, like I said, you know. We don't have to know every single detail that people think, but we do have to have enough self-awareness or awareness of other people to see like, hey, maybe the situation isn't for me, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. So
if you're afraid, get a dog, right? Am I right? Huh.
The hell is that?
If you're afraid, go to church.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, anyways, we're going to go ahead and start closing it out. Be on the lookout for our next Would You Rather question that's going to be on our
Don't be afraid to answer, y'all.
It takes like 1 minute. Come on, answer. Give us something to talk about. Jeez.
Don't you want to please us?
Yeah, please us by answering our question. God. So anyways, guys, thank you for listening. Again, another long one. Yeah, but I think this is kind of where our episodes lengthwise are going to be. So we thought we can do it. Guys. We just have a lot to say once you get going. I hope it's not too much. You know, if it is, then like listen in segments, okay? You know, there's multiple times you're
sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, just, you know, split it up or something. But thank you guys for listening to another episode. We will give you guys another Would You Rather question coming up and another episode next week. So hope you guys have a great day and we will see you next time.
Bye.